Welcome to the final installment of Christmas cookie boxes. This is bake day 1 of 2, where we bake off all of our cookies and box them up and give them out as gifts. And I am so excited. It's so awesome to get to this point and see really the end of all that hard work come together. So really excited you're here. Why don't we just go ahead and jump right into our to-do list for today and tomorrow so you can kind of see what I have going on. I had to move you on my counter because my child is trying to eat you, which is just rude during the holidays. You know, you just don't eat people during the holidays. She may be down here yelling, just is what it is. So what I've done is I've made a list. If you remember the first episode, I wrote all of this out and was keeping this on my fridge just so I had a reference of everything that I needed to make. Well, I've gone back over this today and I put the baking temp and time, and if they're frozen and they're baked from frozen, the time has been adjusted for that. So I've gone ahead and mapped out all of that because what's going to happen is I'm going to bake these in order of like lowest temp to highest temp because I don't trust my oven to come down enough, if that makes sense. So yes, so that's why I have all of those times there. So I've split it up between today and tomorrow. For the most part, everything that I bake today needs to be iced or something tomorrow. So the first thing that we're gonna make and bake today are the Linzer cookies. So we're gonna cut those out, bake them, get that all taken care of, and then they'll rest overnight, and then I will fill them with jam and dust them with powdered sugar. We're gonna do the thumbprints today. Those will be completely done after today. I've not frozen that dough. I've frozen those cookies fully baked before, but I just wanna give people fresh baked cookies, not from my freezer. So those will be complete. The pecan crescents we will bake and rest today also, and then tomorrow we will dust them with powdered sugar. The sugar angels, so the sugar cookie angels, we will bake and rest today, and then we will ice them tomorrow. And then the shortbread we will bake tonight also. Then tomorrow, what will happen tomorrow is we will go ahead and, I have that on the back of my sheet. Tomorrow we will bake from frozen our chocolate chip cookies, our double chocolate espresso cookies, and our Magic 5 cookies. We will bake the molasses and the snickerdoodle, but I have to pull those doughs out of the freezer tonight and let them thaw in the fridge because they get rolled in either sugar or cinnamon sugar. And they need to be back down to temperature, like they can't be frozen in order for that to happen. While we're baking off all of these other cookies, while we're baking off the 5 like rolled doughs, we will fill and dust the Linzer, the pecans, and ice the sugar cookie angels. So that was a lot of words for me to tell you what we're gonna do. So let's just jump right into making those Linzer cookies, and hopefully my daughter doesn't try to eat you again. So great. Cool thing about this round of cookies is that it's like the easiest amount of ingredients ever. I'm not going to show you probably the dough making process just because the last video contained a lot of that. I will show you like the rolling out and the cutting and assembly and all of that stuff. But for now, if you want to see dough being made, you may go watch part 2. So we have baked off all the components of our Linzer cookies. We have, I think, about 100 total cookies here. I definitely lost some to the oven. Her recipe calls for these to be baked for 22 minutes, but I forgot that that is not the case at all. And then I have a couple more here. Some of them are darker than others, but that is totally fine. I remember the same thing happened last year. I don't know if I have hot spots in my oven or what, because I do rotate my baking trays. The jam will kind of get into them and moisten them up, and the flavor and the texture of the darker ones is not at all compromised. Before we can make the shortbread, we have to take our regular granulated sugar and turn it into very fine sugar. So we're gonna go ahead and do that really fast. We also need to get some almond flour toasted up for our thumbprint cookies. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that as well. So I'm just gonna put my skillet on low and toast up about 3 cups. You can see it's starting to get some color in here. Oh Lord, everyone's losing their mind. But we're starting to get some color, and that's what we want. We want it to have kind of that brownish hue to it. So now I just know that I need to watch this really closely to make sure it doesn't burn. This is about as far as I'm gonna let it go in color. I don't even know if you can really see how much it's changed, but it's got a nice golden hue to it. It'll cook a little bit more while it sits in this pan, and that's okay by me. And then we're just gonna let it cool, and then we'll use it. It smells super nutty and so good. So I am solo with both kids today. Bryson will be home soon, but I can feel my frustration with him rising. And so I picked one of the more complicated cookies to make first. Maybe wasn't like the best idea. I'm gonna take a break. Not gonna focus on the cookies. I'm gonna wait until Bryson gets home, and then I'll just stay up late and finish what I have to finish today if I have to, because it's just not worth upsetting myself or my kids. It's just not as easy as it once was to do everything that I used to do. Where are you going with those, bud? My reinforcement has made it. We had to go out and get more flour because apparently I didn't calculate correctly how much flour I need. And now we can move on to the shortbread dough. This is the easiest recipe ever. It's made in the food processor and just contains these ingredients: just butter, salt, the sugar we ground up earlier, and flour. Shortbread are out of the oven. I used a pizza cutter to cut them up. They're not perfect, but that's okay. They're delicious. I'm gonna let them sit in this pan for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to put them on cooling racks. I am finishing up my first round of the pecan crescents, about to add the pecans, and then we'll roll all these up and pop these in the oven. All of the pecan crescents have been rolled in powdered sugar. I did not realize that they needed to be rolled in powdered sugar while they were warm and then redusted tomorrow. But we got those done. We have boxed up, just to store them overnight, the Linzer cookies before we fill them. And we have boxed up the shortbread, and I'll wrap these tonight. We are currently working on our thumbprints. Bryson helped me is helping me fill. So I have one more batch to do. So I'm about 2/3 of the way done on these. These need to go in the oven. There's currently some in the oven now that are filled with apricot. So once those are done, then we don't have any more doughs to make. So I was able to put away all of the flour and sugar and all of that stuff, which was great. But we will clean up the dishes, roll out the sugar cookies, and bake those off tonight. And yeah, it's my bedtime, but it's not happening tonight, people. 2 here. Last night we didn't get everything done. We baked off a couple of the sugar cookies, but honestly it was like 10:30 and I was just wiped out. This pregnancy has been the most exhausting of all of my pregnancies for me. So I was just like, we have to wrap this up and go to bed. So my priority this morning is getting the sugar cookies rolled out and then letting those cool so that we can frost those. That's my biggest priority. In the meantime, like I'm waiting for the dough to come back up to temperature from the fridge so that I can roll it out. But in the meantime, I'm just baking off any of the rolled cookies that are super easy. So I just got done some of the double chocolate chip, the dark chocolate chip, not double chocolate. Could be double chocolate. So I'm just gonna keep pumping those out. I think I'm about to start rolling out some more sugar cookies. Bryson is home with me today and the kids, which is such a big help. They have so much joy when he's here. He's a better parent, for sure. Okay, let's get started. All right, all of the sugar cookies are either baked or cut out. I have one batch left in the oven and then one in the fridge that needs to go in the oven. All of the double chocolate are done. We are gonna move on to the Magic 5 next. So while we've got cookies just rotating in and out of the oven now, I'm gonna go ahead and work on putting together our Linzer cookies. So I've put out all the rings and I'm going to dust them with powdered sugar and then I'll fill the rounds and we'll sandwich them together. All the Linzer cookies are done. Not quite sure what happened with these. I guess I just grabbed the wrong cutter and wasn't paying attention. So I've just sandwiched them together and I will dust them in powdered sugar and give them to a family friend that really loves these a lot. But the rest of these we're just gonna let sit for a second and then we will package them up. They don't feel as good as last year. I think maybe I put less jam in them. Also, I started out huge and then moved to a smaller. So any of my single people that I'm giving boxes to that just get one of each will get a big one. The last of the Magic 5 cookies are out. This is the current state of the kitchen. Gotta find a place for them. I've upped my oven to 375 and I'm gonna start with the snickerdoodle cookies and start rolling those out. Are for the most part finished. There's one more batch in the oven. When I make these, I just roll them in sugar and then I dot them with a little bit of water on top and it gives them this beautiful, crackly, crispy exterior. So I'm going to move on to frosting the sugar cookies next because they are cooled and looking good. I think what I'm gonna do is clean up the kitchen a little bit first. I just need to put these dishes away, wash these, and then I can work on making the frosting. All of our sugar cookies are frosted and sprinkled. And the last thing that we have to do are the chocolate chip. I started baking off some of them, but I think that the oven temperature is too high. The recipe says 375. I'm gonna take it down to 350 because the outsides are getting crispy, but the insides are staying gooey. So, and like not in a good way. So I'm gonna take it down to 350 and bake them for a little longer and hope that helps. It is day number 3. It's like 5:30 in the morning. We had to scramble to finish last night because we were still hosting our couple's small group. Because that's a priority for us. And I had to cook fajitas. I really should have planned it better, but I didn't, I guess, think things through. So we're like pulling chocolate chip cookies out of the oven,
putting boxes together. I didn't get a lot of video of it, but we did end up doing, I think, about 24 boxes. So those boxes have roughly 2 cookies a piece in them. I'll show you what they look like when you put them together. And then we just have a ton of leftover cookies. So we will make individual boxes for people like on our teams, or like very specific friends and family that we obviously don't work with. And then we'll just take in a bunch of cookies, like a huge spread of extra cookies, and we'll just put them in our work kitchen. And then that way we don't have to make a box for everybody. People can just come and get what they want. And that's kind of what we do for work. I am so tired. It's much harder with, I think, multiple children and having them home and being pregnant, but it's still so worth it, still so fun. I can't remember the exact number we landed on. I'll go calculate that while you watch me box up this last box. So just a brief overview of everything that goes into a box. We've got sugar cookies, double chocolate espresso, Magic 5, chocolate chip, molasses, Scottish shortbread, thumbprints. We have strawberry and apricot. We've got some sugar snickerdoodle cookies under here, pecan crescents, and raspberry Linzer cookies. So we made enough dough after calculating it to make 1,132 cookies. I don't think we actually made that. I think we probably made somewhere around 960 cookies. That's a rough estimate. Our small group, obviously, they came over last night, and although we had boxes for them, we still were like, eat whatever you want. So after calculating everything and kind of adding some standard deviation for what they ate and what Bryson and I ate while we were throughout the baking process, I think we're at like 960 cookies this year. And like, no wonder, I feel so tired. Also, if you're wondering, the chocolate chip, they did work out. I think I just had to turn my oven down and bake them at 350 for a little bit longer, and then it all worked out well. My pans are just getting really patinaed and old, so I think that's part of it. Well, thanks so much for being here. I'm so grateful for your time. I'm sure this video is probably longer than my other ones. Thanks if you've been here for the 3-part journey. Thanks so much. Please consider sticking around for meal plans, grocery hauls, just what it's like to be working parents. Yeah, we're so grateful for you. I hope you have a great holiday, and I hope that you get to bake some yummy stuff as well. Okay, bye-bye.